Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's another Friday morning here within the Federation of St. Christopher Nevis. And you're logged on to the 25th edition. Well, it's the November 25th edition of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of this program. It's been a while, so I'm happy to be back with you. I want to start off by saying good morning to all the folks who I know are logged on already. You got Brenda, we got Rosemary, we got Amber, we got Jennifer. I want to say good morning to Miss Agnes Kerrit, to Culture, and the rest of the crew, fans of this program, and to everyone within the sound of my voice, those who are viewing us on the various platforms around the world, in the various time zones. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Voices. I'm expecting two guests, and I think they're late, so I'm going to shout out, Petrol, where in heaven's name are you? You're supposed to be here by now, but until you get here. Want to chit-chat for a bit. For most folks in the Federation of St. Christopher Nevis, it's another fantastic Friday, as consumers are taking advantage of one of the VAT-free shopping days where about 17% of the tax on most consumer items and products is being waived. And so I happened to be downtown about an hour ago in a establishment, and there was a queue, a very, very long queue. But it took me about 20 minutes to get up to the checkout because there were three counters, but this is early morning. Traffic around downtown Bastia, and I would suggest also in Charlestown, Nevis, is a bit congested as folks are out there taking advantage of this VAT day. So, for those who have a little chink to spend, Chris Collins, of course, up there in Sheffield, just logging on. Let's see what he has to say. Morning to you, Chris. Do you have any VAT day up there in the UK? Let's see what he's got to say. Boy, you're something bright, like you're making a little sugar cake off those three ships yesterday. Yeah, we'll have a discussion about that. Yeah. And thank you for logging on. You're staying attuned to what's happening in the Federation. Yes, we had three cruise ships yesterday. We had the, I forget the name of it. It was supposed to be the largest ship in the world yesterday, and people were actually questioning. There was a ship to the next of that one. It was actually dwarfed by the size of that ship. But there was another one, which is a lot taller. So they were asking, which is the largest ship in the world? It all depended on your vantage point. But yes, we had one of the Something of the Seas yesterday. And it brought quite a bit of activity in terms of, well, it generated, the three ships, they did generate some activity for not only the taxi drivers, but just about everybody. But before we get into the meat of the things, we need to pay tribute to Caesar, so we'll take a little ad break, and then we come back and get into the meat of the thing. Okay? So here we go.
Campari grapefruit, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. Campari in a cup, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. Add the Campari with the grapefruit soda. That easy, bitter had the pre. Simple mixer, easy 1 3. Campari grapefruit, that easy fi we. Fi mix a Campari grapefruit. Add 1 part Campari to 3 parts grapefruit soda. Drink at the bar, on the beach, or when a girl reach. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly. Flow! Jingle all the way home to Flow, where the speed is faster and price is better. All the way home to Flow. Merry connections that bring us together. Yeah.
Christmas starts the moment you go postpaid with Flow. Because when you do, you get a free smartphone. Plus, you get 20 gigabytes of data, unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube, and 4,000 local minutes. That's our Christmas jingling your way to keep family close anywhere, every day.
All the way home to Flow.
Visit discoverflow.co for more information.
TDC is giving you 4 days of Thanksgiving savings this weekend. Shop on Friday, 25th November. That day, save 25% off at all TDC retail stores. Pay no VAT on cash purchases and get up to 30% off selected products. Then on Saturday, 26th November, it's Super Saturday. Save 25% off cash purchases in store at the TDC Home and Building depots. And on Sunday, shop tdcgroup.com and save 25% off online. On Monday, 28th November, Cyber Monday, shop tdcgroup.com with your code CYBER25 and save 25% site-wide. This weekend, the place to shop is your favorite TDC retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
So that's paying the due credit to our sponsors, and we are back. Some time ago, there was a discussion about securing some wheelchairs and walkers for people who were in need of them. And I must give some credit to Miss Cecilia Christopher for playing her role in obtaining one of those wheelchairs for someone who were in dire need of that. I want to thank her for the role she played. I know the person, the recipient, is very grateful for that. Now, I'm going to take the conversation to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I want to thank them for the assistance, the understanding, and the effort they've also making in making this thing a reality. I may mention that a friend of mine in New York by the name of Rosemary Donald, she's collecting wheelchairs, walkers, strollers, etc., and adult diapers. And the whole issue about getting them to St. Kitts, because she's not actually a person from St. Kitts, she wants to assist. So how do we go about that in a manner that it doesn't cost her with the shipping, etc.? So I reached out to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I had some very engaging conversations with the persons at the other end of the phone line. And what was gleaned that this have never been done before. The recommendation is that the person get them to the mission in New York and have them shipped. They had to ask questions from the superior, and that was done. The end of the day, I was told to have the person call X number of a particular shipper who will go to her home, collect the wheelchairs, etc., clean them up, and they'll be shipped to St. Kitts. And so the persons who are waiting on them, this is an update. As a matter of fact, I was in another store this morning, and the lady says to me, "Don't forget me, brother, you know." I said, "Oh, okay, yes. And I was able to give her the information that this is being done with the assistance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that the shippers, they gave me numbers of a particular shipping agency who will go and collect these wheelchairs and other items, take them to the mission. There's an address that was supplied, and they will then ship them to St. Kitts, and we at this end will be able to distribute them. It's a non-profit operation, so none of us who are taking part is expected to pay for it. The government would be assuming the cost of this, and I want to thank them for the understanding of the cooperation, because they don't have to. But it helps to assist the folks who are really in need, and it takes a strain off the government, eventually, who may be called upon to supply. We know daily, we see people walking around and wow, that person had a stroke, that person in the wheelchair. I saw a former classmate of mine yesterday. I was driving along Keon Street, and I saw the person on the side of the road in a wheelchair, and I was like, wow. I hadn't seen her for some time, and there she is. So I gave her a bright heel up, but it's the reality of what we're facing. And so for Miss Cecilia Christopher, who would have played a role in assisting that particular person in obtaining a wheelchair, once again, thank you for that. Among the person I want to say good morning to is Miss Agnes Kerrit. Did I mention Amber and Jennifer? I may have. Okay. So there's another matter that's actually on the front burner. It relates to taxi fees. Chris Collins is saying that we would have made tons of money yesterday because of the call of those larger ships in port. There is a video making the circulation, and it purports to show taxi drivers in a heated debate on Port Zante about 4 days ago, and it's captioned, "Taxi drivers are going to strike on the matter of the honorarium. That was mentioned during the debate, etc., discussion down there. But I want to state emphatically that there is no undertaking by anyone to go on strike or to demonstrate for any honorarium. I happened to be there. I was not captured in the video. As a matter of fact, that video was spliced. There was a bit of malice involving putting that video because there was a segment of the recording that they put out a few days ago that showed Mr. DuPont at Port Zante more or less urging on taxi drivers to go out and demonstrate. By using the words, when you're ready to go, let me know, I'll lead you. Words to that extent. That videotape of Mr. DuPont's interaction at the port was done some months ago. That segment of that videotape that's up there was done some months ago. So someone with a malicious intent stayed on the side of where the taxi drivers were talking about the issues, heated debate, recorded it, and put the caption of taxi drivers going to strike on the issue of honorarium, and they included that section of when Mr. DuPont was on the port some time ago. And then this morning I got a call from one of my members stating that there was a conversation yesterday where it was said that me, Socrates Hodge, has organized a demonstration for today to go through the streets of Bastia, protesting against the fact that we have not received any financial assistance, something that we would have asked the minister for in a meeting, and that she did say was already approved by cabinet. So we're talking taxi affairs, so I'm not using the airways to justify or explain my issue. But let me go back a bit. A few days ago, Chris Collins, I was on the port. I was about the third day of the taxi drivers, mainly down there, frustrated on the lack of work that was coming to us. We were there, day in, day out, etc., etc. Numbers are not coming to us. You're seeing other entities getting work. We're not getting work. And so I said, fellas, who wants to follow me through town for a little walk around? Because somebody has to listen to us and give us an audience. And they were, well, we need to organize this better than this. And the discussion was they will do it on Friday, a walk to town to speak about the work we're not getting. And the debate, the government just gone in, they ain't gone 100 days yet, or you want to protest against the government. This has nothing to do from where I was sitting. It was spontaneous. We just here every day, just talking, doing nothing. Let's have a little walk through town. I'm going to break for a word from a sponsor shortly, but let me just explain. And they said, well, I will go, but if it's organized. So the discussion was it will be done on Friday. Later on that very same day, one of the presidents came and said that he had a meeting with people in the ministry, and they said, okay, don't do that. We'll have a meeting with the minister on Tuesday. I don't know where he came from, but that's what he said to me. So, okay, fine. I didn't care one way or the other. My thing was just to have a walk through town and have people understand what is happening or not happening at Port Zante. So yesterday I showed up. Was it yesterday? Yes. And I was told that the match would be about this payment. I did not, and I'm going to repeat emphatically, I have not organized any match, any demonstration to deal with the matter that is on the minister's desk. But I'm being told that Socrates went and organized it and this and that. My name is easy to call. It matters not. So for the president to be, the one who's campaigning to be the president of the St. Kitts Taxi Association, right? When you're going to state issues, get your facts straight. I did not. For those who want to run to the minister's office and say, shoo, use my name if you wish, but it is not the truth. I had nothing to do with organizing any demonstration that dealt with that matter. I said, let's have a walkthrough on the matter. We're not getting work. And people with their various issues, they say it's honorarium. Some say, okay, it's because we didn't get this and with that, and me want to go and have a demonstration. I don't care. I'm just putting the facts out there. And two of my guests this morning were supposed to be here dealing with that specific matter. I don't know why they're not here. Maybe it's related to the fact that they say, well, don't do it because X, Y, Z. You know, and I saw one this morning, yes, be there for 11 o'clock, fine, because they wanted to come and discuss the matters that are affecting them. I'm not seeing them, and the band plays on. We're going to pause at this time to give credit to our sponsors, and we will be right back.
TDC is giving you 4 days of Thanksgiving savings this weekend. Shop on Friday, 25th November. That day, save 25% off at all TDC retail stores. Pay no VAT on cash purchases and get up to 30% off selected products. Then on Saturday, 26th November, it's Super Saturday. Save 25% off cash purchases in store at the TDC Home and Building depots. Then on Sunday, shop tdcgroup.com and save 25% off online. On Monday, 28th November, Cyber Monday, shop tdcgroup.com with your code CYBER25 and save 25% site-wide. This weekend, the place to shop is your favorite TDC retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Buster! We run things are on we. Buster! Buster! Living color, do it differently. Buster! Buster! Large and in charge, like for the party. Buster! Buster! We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
7 flavors, best taste, Buster, bolder, better, better. Pick your color.
We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
Buster, live in full color.
Buster! Flow! Jingle all the way home to Flow, where the speed is faster and price is better. All the way home to Flow. Merry connections that bring us together, yeah.
Christmas starts the moment you bundle your Flow internet with your Flow mobile. Because when you do, you get a free laptop. Plus, you get 100 megabits per second internet speed, 20 gigabytes of data, 4,000 local minutes, and unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube. That's our Christmas jingling your way to keep family close for Christmas and every day.
All the way home to Flow.
Visit discoverflow.co for more information.
To our viewers and listeners on the various platforms, welcome back to Voices. At this point in time, I would like to say, wish a very pleasant rising to Miss Hazel Brooks. And she's attuned to the program and, of course, giving commentary. Thank you for that comment. So, yes, the whole issue. What's funny, there were at least 4 persons who wanted to be here on the radio to talk about the same issues. It's very challenging. So yesterday, we had a wonderful day in terms of work on the ground. Enough persons on the ground that just about everybody got some work. Okay? But there are times you have 3-4 days where you're not getting that. And out of that frustration, is when I said, okay, guys, let's just have a walk through town. We are here sitting doing nothing, right? I myself made a call to the Prime Minister's secretary, try to secure an appointment. And I thought I would bring him personally up to date with the state of the industry as it relates to the taxi business. I thought I would have the discussion with him, so I'm still waiting for that opportunity to explain to him. I know we have a Minister of Tourism, and I did indicate to her on a given day she visited us down at Port Zante, and I said, she asked me, how are things? I said, come and speak to the other drivers. And they were able to relate to her, day 3, we're not getting any work, blah, 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 blah. And she did say again, well, you guys come and see me. I have an open door policy. But it takes more than one person. And I would say is something that they've inherited. This is something that they have inherited to a large extent also Minister Grant. Because one of the issues we have facing us, and I was able to post this question to the then CEO of tourism, Missy Raquel Brown. I asked her, has any feasibility study been done to determine whether or not the taxi industry can take more drivers at the moment? She says no, so I asked her, well, why? Anyway, we'll pause for call from our listeners. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. What though?
I'm fine.
Beautiful.
It doesn't seem as if you can say the same.
What's that?
What's happening in your neck of the woods? I don't know. Maybe you can explain it. What it is about taxi drivers that there always seems to be confusion. And it's not just here that I noticed that, right? Generally speaking, I don't know if it's because they are independent business people. I don't know if it's because the industry is so competitive. But there's something that always seems to go wrong there. And I can't put my hand on it. Maybe you can. Right? Why, for starters, why?
I don't know why you're breaking up. You're making some great points. I agree with you, but you're sort of breaking up. So if it's a location.
Let me see if this is better. Any better?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Okay. I was basically saying asking why there always seem to be some confusion. Or
I got that. And the points you made were right on the nail. So continue.
Okay. And so I'm wondering, for starters, why there doesn't seem to be unity among the taxi drivers themselves. Okay? Why must they have separate associations? They seem to be competing with each other. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
It's so accurate.
They are competing.
Yes.
But
you mentioned the fact that because they're mainly independent.
Which association you're in?
They compete against their own association. They competed against their own membership. And that's part of the problem.
Okay, but each association have leaders, right?
Presidents, executive, yes.
Right. So you want to tell me, if you try to, if I don't know how many taxi drivers there are, I guess hundreds.
But not quite. The majority of them are not associated. They are non-aligned, and that's part of the issue.
Well, okay, no, but what I'm saying is, among the associations themselves, if you try to get consensus among all the members, it's going to be hard. But certainly the leadership, the people who they elect to look after their interests, they should be able to work out something.
Should be
right?
able.
Then the independent ones, well, it's a case of if the main associations come together and decide, and they decide on regulations, stipulations, whatever, protocols, whatever you want to call them, right? To me, then you can go to the tourism authority and say these are what, let's say, the majority of taxi drivers feel should be instituted.
Yes.
And then have the necessary teeth, whether legislation or regulations, to enforce them. Right?
Correct.
The independent ones would just have to conform.
Correct.
Okay? Or form their own association. All right? But I don't understand. I guess what I'm trying to understand is why there should always be confusion. I mean, year after year, you have this. And I don't understand why it keeps happening. So I guess what I'm asking, do you understand it? Do you?
Yes.
So what do you think is the crux of the problem?
The crux of the problem is that when a person today becomes a taxi operator, they have no affiliation to the association membership. The associations have been undermined to the extent that the new drivers don't see a need to join any association. They operate independently. The associations had been weakened by their own membership. Let me give an example. A certain entity, we, the taxi fraternity, had contracts to handle all the transportation requirements. They did not have vehicles. They could not, because even though it was not legislated, there was a policy that they could be tour operators and still, agents and still the ground transport. And so the St. Kitts Taxi Association and Limiga would negotiate every year for the contracts to continue the transportation. So the membership were well fed. But along the way, members of the same association started to work for these entities who are allowed to bring in their vehicles. And so they've grown themselves to be, they have a fleet of vehicles, and they're giving workers to these same drivers who bought bigger vehicles. So they undermine their own association to work for the competition, and they want representation on the whole. Secondly to that, to be a taxi driver back then, there was a vetting policy. You had to be vetted by the association membership. The Ministry of Tourism would call in the executive or presidents of both associations, ask, what do you think about the state of affairs of industry? Can we take 1, 2, or 3 more drivers? And then you will go along with that. That person will be under probation for a few months, and then before they got licensed. During a certain election campaign season, we started seeing people with taxi IDs. How'd you get that? Minister gave me. Minister gave me. So you find you'll be beholden to the ministers who are pushing a certain agenda to get votes, and that is where they start to undermine the whole process. So people feel, I got this from a minister, I don't have to be a member of anybody, I do what I want, it's my vehicle. So the independence that you spoke about, they're the only independent drivers. So when things get rough now, they want to talk and they want to complain. But they're the ones who allow themselves to be undermined to the extent that the associations today have no clout.
Well, it sounds to me like the you know, it might be kind of unfortunate because, you know, you like the idea of individual people owning their own business, or maybe it's a family business, a small, you know, small operation, and they're operating independently, and the quality of the service
is depleted.
What they're saying. But at the same time, you can't have a free-for-all, because if you're going to do that, the standards are probably going to jump.
The free-for-all has done that.
People who are just concerned with making a buck as opposed to delivering quality service, right? And so what I think probably could happen is that, well, first of all, in the first thing that you mentioned, this, what seems to be, what they call it, what do they call it now, a trust
issue?
Basically, it's a conglomerate or a monopoly. Monopolies start operating where they have most of the work.
I would say about 70%. 70%.
Right. Well, you don't want that in any economy. Anytime you have that kind of cornering of a market, you're gonna have problems.
And that is why
right?
I made a call.
Maybe what should happen there, instead of, you say 70%?
70%.
Limit that to, well, certainly below 50%, I would say. Okay? So that you create space for the small guy.
Of course.
Right? So I don't say, I think that is perfectly reasonable. I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, I can't imagine people objecting to that.
That is why I made a call to make an appointment to speak to the Prime Minister to present to him the state of affairs of the industry as it relates to Posante. Now, I had occasion to, as I said, speak to the Minister of Tourism. I had asked taxi drivers how were things for them and explained to her 2-3 days, no work. So this is not disrespecting her. This is not in any way disrespecting her by passing her, but I think the PM need to understand exactly
But
what happens
wasn't
down
there
there.
a case where they had some kind of rotation system at some
There
point?
is a rotation system that's in place, but it's not feeding. It's not feeding the majority. Example, if you were to come down there tomorrow, well, tomorrow not best, tomorrow, and you'll see all the pre-booked events going by. We're just sitting there, we're fighting for what's left over. And so the free-for-all that is down there, I don't like it, but I understand it because people have the mortgages to meet. When you have to fight for the leftover, as a matter of fact, we being the president of the associations, there are two, St. Kitts Taxi, Laimika Taxi. I'm the president of the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative. We put some proposals to the ministry about the new season, the new rates, etc. And we were told, wait a month before we implement this thing. We need a month to look at the situation because most of the work is coming through the pre-booked. So they knew. They knew what we were trying to implement could not work. In the initial phase, they said, give us a month to observe how things will be first before we implement these new rates because most of the passengers are now coming off pre-booked.
Well,
We understand
if that is the case where most are coming off pre-booked, why can't the taxi associations get involved in those?
Here the answer to that. We're told now we have to put a team together to go to sea trade. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying for the ships to be coming here and for us to get work, we have to go to sea trade. There's something wrong with that. Do not let the monopolies take over because the small man is the one who is the engine of growth. We're ambassadors. We shouldn't have to go to sea trade to get the work from the ships that are coming here. You understand?
Well,
I understand sea
not
trade.
only that. Not only that, as a matter of fact, I would think that it's in the interest of the big boys
Of course.
for you all to prosper as well. When the small guy prospers, it helps the bigger guy as well.
And that is why.
Okay? And so you also need me putting money to get to go to Situate. They should be inviting you all along. They should be paying for you all to go up there so that everybody gets a piece of the action. This monopoly thing.
Sea trade is match. Is in match. It means that in order to get, we'd have to look for the next season. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, government, you're bringing the ships here. We shouldn't be left to flounder or told, go to sea trade in order.
You're saying you have to wait. And why should you have to wait?
Sea trade is match.
Why can't you all negotiate with the big players now that they give you all a piece of the action?
Because the big players can say, we are giving taxi drivers work. They're giving a select few. Those that I said undermine their own associations are getting, you understand? They're feeding a few. So they can say, well, we're giving taxi drivers work. You understand?
Yeah, I know it would have been more complex.
Yes.
Than, geez, man, all the big people get together and decide what's best for the industry. And
as one lady said yesterday,
there are lots of competing interests there.
One lady said yesterday when she was challenged, she said, well, I have my child to feed. So they don't want to be in any association because they're being fed, spoon-fed on the side. So that's all part of the complicated issue. So the work is coming, but it's going to a select few. So I said to those let's have a walk through town. Let's have a walk through town. Just to start a conversation. Now I'm being told that I organized a demonstration against the minister because this and that and that. But that's what it is.
So when you said a walk to town, though, what that meant?
That meant we're down there sitting down, just chatting nonsense. Now let's have a little walk through town. Question will be asked. We say, well, we're here. Ship is down there, but because we're not getting the work. You know, we need to have a little conversation. How to address this.
I don't think it's a good look, really, if ships are in, and because it is going to be construed as protest action, some kind of protest action.
It was spontaneous.
It's not going to look good.
And we could have. It's not about looking good.
Huh?
It's not about looking good because when I led a demonstration
it's
years
the kind
ago,
of industry that you better look good, otherwise, you know.
here's what. When I led a demonstration years ago, Minister Grant was the minister. And I got a message from him, Socrates, if you take the demonstration downtown, I will remove you from the tourism board. My response to that was, if seeking equity for taxi drivers mean being removed from the board, go ahead. I led that demonstration. The very same day, we ended up in cabinet. The only person missing was Mark Brantley. They were all there. And Sean Richards said to me, Socrates, I hear you only had 17 drivers. Well, 17 drivers, look what we reached. You understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Look where we got.
I mean,
We had an audience.
That's the whole point. You know, they strength in numbers.
It wasn't
And,
about embarrassing.
you
It's
all
about
have-
your
all of
affairs.
y'all you would think have an interest in this,
Yep.
and what benefits one would usually benefits all. It's all y'all are in the industry, the same industry.
We do have
So you
to.
think,
We do have
think
to
that,
have a station break to give credit to our sponsors.
yeah.
But I'm glad you called because for those who are listening, get a better understanding as to
Yeah,
why. So
yeah,
we
because, you
are
know,
our worst enemies, but there has to be
Because
some
I was
way to
coming
address
over
this.
as, oh my goodness, these taxi drivers again.
You understand?
You know, a new season and they come with the same old nonsense again. You know,
And
that-
especially
that's
coming
how
off
it
COVID.
came off to an observer outside, to an non-local.
Yeah, well, I can
just
explain
wanted to
because
get an idea of what. Okay.
especially coming off COVID, that lull, we need some help. We need some assistance. We need this thing to be sorted out. It can't be politics as usual or the same old, same old. Thanks for your contribution. We now pause for a few kind words from our sponsors.
Jingle all the way home to Flow, where the speed is faster and price is better. All the way home to Flow, Merry connections that bring us together. Yeah.
Christmas starts the moment you go postpaid with Flow. Because when you do, you get a free smartphone. Plus, you get 20 gigabytes of data, unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube, and 4,000 local minutes. That's our Christmas jingling your way to keep family close anywhere, every day.
All the way home to Flow.
Visit discoverflow.co for more information.
TDC is giving you 4 days of Thanksgiving savings this weekend. Shop on Friday, 25th November. That day, save 25% off at all TDC retail stores. Pay no VAT on cash purchases and get up to 30% off selected products. Then on Saturday, 26th November, it's Super Saturday. Save 25% off cash purchases in store at the TDC Home and Building depots. Then on Sunday, shop tdcgroup.com and save 25% off online. On Monday, 28th November, Cyber Monday, shop tdcgroup.com with your code CYBER25 and save 25% site-wide. This weekend, the place to shop is your favorite TDC retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back to Voices. In case you're just joining us, my name is Socrates. I'm the host for today's program, and we've had quite a morning of discussion, mainly on a tax-related issue. Speaking of which, one of our listeners, viewers perhaps, states, she wrote, when a problem occurs year after year, as the last call implied, and you acknowledge it, it meant that the problem was never resolved. Just saying. And you're right. It was never resolved. It's gotten worse, actually, because one of those entities, maybe two, used the COVID situation, and they've increased the amount of pre-book events. Example, we used to get lots of beach work from the cruise passengers to go to the beach. That's almost gone. Almost gone. They never gone into that segment of beach work, and they've booked more and more of that. So you're down there waiting for the beach job, and they're just gobbling up everything. Oh, yes. So, yes, I want to segue into something else. I want to speak about Ms. Haley Cassius, who is the manager at the Craft House, who has undertaken a new venture. She want to make the Craft House more viable, more visible, and she thought she would go by the way of Calypso Tent. There's a phone line. The phone line's, wow. Phone line. Yes, she thought she would go by the way of a Calypso Tent to bring some traffic and a warehouse to what programs they have at the Craft House. So she has engaged and is putting a Calypso Tent there tomorrow night. People saying Craft House, Calypso Tent. She's trying to get people to be more aware as to what they're doing at the Craft House, how they're doing it, and how it impacts the broader society. So she decided to take on a bit of culture. Using the culture of Calypso is carnival and marriage, if you may. And so she's asking, and I, of course, support, that you come out to support the event at the Craft House tomorrow. There'll be tents, there'll be chairs, there'll be entertainment, there'll be bar, etc. For those who don't know, and you want a place to go tomorrow night, those who are not going up to the National Heroes Park for the Big Birthday Bash, come out and support the effort of Ms. Haley Cassius and her new thinking for the Craft House and all the folks associated with it. All right? So there is that. The lines are open. Anybody want to call in and make a contribution? There is some information coming via way of WhatsApp. I can relate that during the conversation. But yes, if you want to get part of the conversation, 662-0989 and 460989. There are some numbers that our father feel. I'll get those for you. But yeah, those are the options. We've had one caller for the day, and I do look forward for the contribution of that gentleman. And I must say, I'm a little amused by the other taxi persons who was supposed to be here, said they would be here, but of course, it's that day. Maybe they went shopping. Maybe they went shopping. We do have a caller. So we go to the phone lines. Call your live on Voices.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Hodge.
Good morning, sir, Mr. Dwyer. Long time to hear your voice. How are you doing?
I'm here, I'm blessed. I am blessed by the Almighty.
Blessed by the Almighty. Nothing better could be said. What's going on in your world?
I was listening to your first call audio with you.
Yes,
reaction about the what happened down at the cruise ship yesterday.
You've seen it. You've worked there for years, so you know what I'm talking about.
That's why I try to listen to understand exactly what is what. I would like to find out from you who was the president. How many taxi operations in the taxi the tourism?
You're talking about the membership?
Yeah.
They claim
all taxi are complete and taxi drivers.
There is about 500, I'm told, registered taxi drivers, but not all of them depend mainly, well, some of them are part-time. Some have government jobs, they're police officers, they're civil servants, etc. But those who depend mainly on taxi for their livelihood, we guesstimate about 300.
Okay, 300. See, that is the breakdown. You better have a long cruise ship in and someone who have about 4 or 5 fleet
Vehicles.
want them to be in the display of the day. we call in the workers them to do some kind of working. Am I right or wrong?
You're correct.
And so, in other words, those who come in to provide work for this person who have 5 fleet is going to undermine someone who is there with 1 fleet.
Cut the price.
That's right. You know where I'm coming from?
Of course. It happens.
And I remember you all used to have a system when I was down there.
Mm-hmm.
The 20 or 25 taxi will
Rotation.
be going down
Yes.
to get first preference. And after those get their work, you send down a next set of 30 taxi, which it will be going in just to pick
The
up.
next rotation, yes.
But the first 20 taxi that goes in, it's like a rotation you all used to have. So in the next shipment, I won't be in the first 20.
That's correct.
So somebody who's in the 30 now will be able to come up in the 20.
That's correct. But that was when you have a large volume of the work flowing to the
Yeah.
dispatching point. So
And
the
even when
dispatchers,
and even when somebody they come up, they get a preference to go in and get a job, and that's it.
that was pre-COVID, when we had more work coming to us, so you could better plan how to implement those measures. Now,
Right.
you have 2-3 days and very, very poor workflow coming to the dispatching point.
Is your 300 taxi operators is in a taxi association?
No. The association membership has dwindled.
That is going to break down. You see, you're going to have a fall down from there. If you don't have a taxi association, you're going to have fighting down.
There are 2 actually.
Or well, the 2 cannot survive with the 300 you have. I remember when you call a meeting, some doesn't come and some doesn't come. But you leak back out to who didn't come to know what went on in the meeting. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're correct. You're correct.
So
But it will sort itself out or not.
Hello?
It will sort itself out or not. I am told, I was advised that there'll be a meeting with the Minister of Tourism on Tuesday. I was told 2 days ago that there will be a meeting with the taxi executives and the Minister of Tourism on Tuesday. I have a pretty good idea what will be discussed, but there were people saying that I was organizing a demonstration today against her.
Okay, let us speak. Let me try and see what can be done. We all are big people. We all go out to make a living. We have our incomes and so on to deal with. If you're not a taxi driver and not registered in a thing, you shouldn't be able to come in among the persons who is a taxi driver.
Free enterprise democracy, you can't stop that.
You cannot stop that. If you cannot stop it, how are we going to work? You have to put on your foot to stop something. If you do not join a party, you won't be able to come in among the others who is there trying to make a daily bread.
Correct.
Stay on the outside and let the person bring the work to you. And that because you see everybody have on a uniform is a taxi driver.
Well,
Put on the uniform.
I'm hoping that
as a taxi driver to get work.
through dialogue, we can rectify this problem so that when the next season comes around, we're not here again speaking about the same old issues.
It's going to be the same thing over and over. It will never end until we decide to say, let us stop, think, and move on. We are big people, and we're supposed to learn to communicate with each other and not break down the system. You have a president, you have to respect the president who running the affairs, because the president has to answer back to the minister in government who is in charge of tourism.
Well, there will be elections, I think, at the end of this month for the presidency of the Sinkers Taxi Cooperative. The La Omega Taxi, they should be holding their elections at some point. I am with the St. Kitts Taxi Cooperative. And so there's a thinking that once they organize themselves, they'll come under the umbrella of the cooperative, which is a different entity. At the same time, there are people saying, no, Socrates want to take over this and that.
Your name will call, you know, you were the president and you know, stand for I know the amount of president that I work under down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to call up the name or nothing. But what went down, what I seen on my phone or something about what happening down there, it is a shame and disgrace.
And I think the Minister of Tourism needs to do a rethink. We will have discussions on Tuesday, I'm told, but I did call to speak to the PM. We wanted the audience with. But then Ms. Henderson being the Minister of Tourism, we thought we'd observe protocol and go to her firstly, which we did. But ultimately, we would hope to be able to see the Prime Minister sometime after his birthday celebration, which I'm told is tomorrow night. You know, I'll have a bone to pick with him.
Well, if she is the Minister of Tourism, she's supposed to be able to sit down and analyze things with you all, and if you cannot...
There's not an easy answer. Because I said it's something that she also inherited. This also was pre-Mr. Grant. So it's ongoing. But the bone I have to pick with the Prime Minister is how dare he go and put a big birthday bash at the National Heroes Park on the same night I'm having a Calypso tent.
You make me ease back. I wasn't sure listening to your problem, but you make me ease
No, man, no.
it is a disgrace.
Well, the port thing, yes, but I'm just having some fun with the Prime Minister and his big birthday bash for tomorrow night. I have a Calypso tent planned for the craft house. How the man gonna bust me? You understand?
Okay, Mr. So how do you have a pleasant morning, and I hope everything works.
Mr. Do I have yourself a most wonderful day? Enjoy your VAT day. Don't overshop on one day. Leave something
I don't
for.
shop anymore because I cannot get the income.
Okay.
I have to let the whole country know. I'm not getting the income. So
Some days chicken, some days feathers. That's how it is sometimes.
The Lord is blessing me day by day.
When you do it fall, it don't fall on one man house up. So we good.
And I'm not crying and not bawling.
I hear you.
You have a pleasant day.
Same to you and yours. Yeah, we're coming up on the midday hour. We will have the midday newscast. And, you know, for the folks who logged on, of course, you're logged on to WinFM 98.9. And it's the Friday, November 25th episode of Voices. And I did say I expected a couple of guests from the taxi fraternity who promised they'll be here. But every disappointment is for good. Yes, we had a mega day down at Port Zante yesterday, and lots of folks are taking credit. Not a problem. There are more days like that. I actually surmise when taxi drivers get 2 or 3 days of belly full, they're okay. But the day the ship don't come and, you know. But there is a serious issue down there. And I'm hoping that we can find sober heads who can sit around the table and deal with it. And not just pursue corporate greed. That is one of the issues down there. Corporate greed and the taxi drivers who allow themselves to be bought, who betrayed their obligation to the own association. As one person said, I have my child to feed. So you betray your obligation to your association and undermine it. That's part of the problem. We take one more call before we go to the Midday Newscast. Good day, caller, live on Voices.
Hi, good morning, the King.
Good morning, sir. How about that?
I'm giving a on yourself.
I'm counting my blessings somewhere ahead.
Yes. May I have permission to speak?
Most certainly.
I have a lot to do. I have a lot to say.
You got 5 minutes?
But, yeah. I'll call back in. You know me.
Okay.
Let me start where I should start. Yesterday was what one would say a breath of fresh air. But how long this breath of fresh air will last? Are we being deceived by yesterday? Can yesterday consolidate for the time we have sucked out through the hard times? A lot of us are being deceived by yesterday. King, can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Did you have some guests expected this morning?
Not to my knowledge. Where?
You were supposed to have some persons.
Oh, you mean, yes. I thought you meant tourist guests. Yes, I expected some guests on the program this morning. On the way here, I kind of waved to one who indicated that he would be here. I haven't seen hide nor hear of anybody. Nobody called, nobody texted, said they can't make it.
The thing, I was down at the port a few days ago when I was approached. I don't know if he was one of the guests. Michael B., my good friend, we're from the town.
Yes.
And he know me. He always encouraged me to speak because he know I have a voice. And so we motivate each other in that area. I don't know if he was one of the guests.
No, he was not on the list.
But down at the port, he had said a few things to me. And I think it was a little bit premature. And I don't like to do things in a premature way. I like to maximize my effort, my energies, which would down to benefit. And so I said, and I listen more than how I talk, you know. I come down on the port at times, and I will hear things. People respect me for who I am, but they will want to hear my suggestion, and I just listen them and watch them boldly in their face, as man to man and man to woman and so forth.
Because we're almost out of time.
I cannot be influenced by nobody so easily. You know?
Because we're almost out of time, was it not you who said, let's organize for Friday?
Yes.
Correct.
A sit-down discussion, not knowing that if Friday was a ship, because on the itinerary that I have, a ship was scheduled for today. Be that as it may, I said, King, demonstration answer is my last resort. Industrial action is my last resort, you know. And we will give the ministry the benefit of the doubt. That's me. I want to see this thing work for all of us. But as you said, 70% already of it gone that way.
Of course.
And they don't mind if they get the other 30%. These heartless people, that is their nature by greed. So it was not always 70%, but it has become 70%, and it's going to get worse. So for those who had their lot amount to say, like Petrol and Karen and Michael B., I'm calling the names. If they want to be there and they're not there, tell them that me, Africa, say. And I told them that I'm not a sit-down person in radio station. I get studio claustrophobic.
You did say that.
Or studiophobic. But I will call in and lend my support at any time. It was 108, C108, who said, and his Christian narrative saying that, well, we don't die because of his Christian theology. We don't die. We just go around. So and I asked the question, if we don't die, why we don't stand up for what is ours now?
I recall the conversation.
Why, if we don't die, why are we so coward? Not wanting to eat bread like other people who live in and want to take all of the bread.
We are out of time.
70% of the bread already.
Africa. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We will have to continue this dialogue after the midday newscast.
Yes,
we have to pause for that now.
So I'm calling out the names. If they wasn't a part of the panel, Karen, Petrol, Michael B., and I don't know who other.
Karen had an obligation, but we're out of time at the moment. We have to pause for the midday newscast. But Karen made her excuses prior to today. Okay?
Okay, I could excuse her for that.
All right.
Yeah.
We will continue after the midday newscast. For all our listeners and viewers, it's been a pleasure for the first half of the show. Hope to engage you on the other end. We now pass for the Win FM midday newscast.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Did you know know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The Nevis Solid Waste Management Authority, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We're encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the following locations. In Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and the Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. In St. Kitts, every second and fourth Tuesday at the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottles, flatware, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis, or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. So think smart. Take PAT, reduce, reuse, recycle.
You have the keys to your new car this Christmas? Now it's time to get it insured. Visit DeDeal Baldwin, agents for Caribbean Alliance Insurance, to save up to 65% off your motor insurance premium. All new clients are eligible for major discounts. Plus, there's lots of sweet prizes to be won. Switch and save and get in on the action. Visit us today in St. Kitts or Nevis, or give us a call at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Promotion ends December 31st, and all quotes are valid until January 31st. Drive secure this Christmas with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Terms and conditions apply.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WIN Headline News, I am Kevon Brown. Making the headlines, local elections in Nevis set for December 12th. Skelec bills to show value of fuel variation charge. Cuba and China presidents hold talks in Beijing. Cayman Islands government to change asylum process to allow successful refugees 3 years in country. Guyana's president announces changes to salaries of workers in law enforcement services. Internationally, infrastructure in Kherson damaged by Russian shelling is having to be rebuilt from scratch, said engineers from Ukrainian energy company. The United Nations Human Rights Council has approved an international investigation into Iran's violent crackdown of anti-government protesters. Now, the details. Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, announced that the Nevis Island Assembly elections would be held on December 12th. Premier Brantley, leader of the incumbent Concerned Citizens Movement, made the announcement during a 20-minute address to the nation on November 24th, where he outlined the work done during his administration's run.
Against this backdrop of performance, touching every single sector of our society and quality leadership that our island has enjoyed, I have today advised His Excellency the Governor-General, after consultation with the Honourable Prime Minister, that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday, the 25th day of November, 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022. In this election, you will have a clear choice between a solid record of performance of your CCM and government and the promises being made by the other side. I believe that our record has been an exceptional one despite the grave challenges. I commit this CCM party to waging a campaign of ideas and of hope rather than a campaign of vilification and vitriol. I urge you, brothers and sisters, to engage in the process, to listen to the issues, and to make your vote count for the continued development and advancement of this land called Nevis that we are all privileged to call our home.
Nomination day is December 5th, and the Nevis Island Assembly will be dissolved effective November 25th. In reaction to the announcement, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, took to Facebook, where she brought up the letter from the Evangelical Association and Christian Council asking that elections not be held in December. The NRP leader wrote, quote, "It is disgraceful to observe how the plea of the Evangelical Association and Christian Council was dismissed again. We cannot change the date that has been set aside to bring our families together to celebrate Christmas. I can assure you today that as Premier of Nevis, no local elections will be held in the month of December. I do care, and I do have respect for the wishes of others," end quote. 3 parties are vying for 5 seats on Nevis and control of the Nevis Island Assembly: the Concerned Citizens Movement, the main opposition in the Nevis Reformation Party, and the newest party on the island, the Moral Restoration Movement. A statement from the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited announced that customers will be able to see the value of the fuel variation charge from November 2022 and beyond. According to the electricity company, once the price of fuel is above the set base rate, the fuel variation charge will be applied. The fuel variation charge is currently being subsidized by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. The energy savings will show the amount the customer would have paid if the subsidy was not applied. So consumers will see the fuel variation charge on monthly bills and credit of the same amount. The variation charge savings will be seen in the section of the bill marked Energy Savings. Although the charge will now appear on the bill, customers will not see an increase in their bills and customers will only pay the usual charges. Additionally, customers who currently use less than 200 kilowatt hours receive a 50% discount on their bills, which is reflected along with the fuel variation charge in the energy savings section. Skellig believes that showing customers the charge on their bills would help consumers of electricity to better manage their consumption and bills while encouraging consumers to use less electricity. In regional news, Cuba and China presidents hold talks in Beijing. Cayman Islands government to change asylum process to allow successful refugees 3 years in country. Guyana's president announces changes to salaries of workers in law enforcement services. Those reports and more from Carib Update.
The leaders of Cuba and China have held bilateral talks in Beijing. China's President Xi Jinping held talks Friday with Cuban leader Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez. Xi noted that Diaz-Canel is the first Latin American and Caribbean head of state received by China since the 20th CPC National Congress held last month, which fully demonstrates the special friendship between the two countries and parties. He expressed China's commitment to long-term friendship with Cuba. Xi said China will continue to firmly support Cuba in defending its normal sovereignty and opposing external interference and blockade. Cuba's political opposition has accused the government of blocking or spooking its candidates for local elections this Sunday and is calling on Cubans to abstain from voting. Municipal elections held every 5 years are one of a few opportunities ordinary citizens on the island have to directly participate in the electoral process. The Cuban government says the system is a model of grassroots democracy in which participants nominate candidates for their own neighborhoods in local assemblies, then vote freely for them. Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez tweeted on Thursday that the upcoming vote was a genuine expression of participatory democracy. The Cayman Islands government is moving to change the asylum process so that successful refugees are not automatically granted indefinite leave to stay in the Cayman Islands. Instead, through proposed changes to the Customs and Border Control Act, government is seeking to initially allow refugees to stay in the islands for 3 years. After this, they will be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain as long as they can demonstrate they are a genuine refugee. In more news, advocates say authorities in the Dominican Republic have rounded up thousands of Haitian migrants and anyone who looks like they could be from Haiti and deported them to a country in grips of deadly gang violence and instability. The forced removals, which rights groups say have escalated this month, have drawn international criticism and calls for restraint amid reports that unaccompanied children, pregnant women, and other vulnerable people are being deported. In the Dominican Republic, a majority of the population identifies as mixed race, while the country's neighbor Haiti has a predominantly black population. This has fueled accusations that xenophobia and racism are behind the deportations, part of a wider trend of anti-Haitian discrimination in the Dominican Republic. Guyana's President Irfan Ali has announced sweeping changes to the salaries of several categories of workers in the discipline services of Guyana. The increases, which will benefit ranks of the Guyana Police Force, Guyana Fire Service, and the Guyana Defense Force, reflect a more than $1 billion annualized increase to the sum paid to those workers. Further, those increases, which will take effect from January 1, 2023, will add to the 8% across-the-board retroactive increase already announced for public servants. The Jamaican opposition has given an indication that it will not be supporting an extension of the states of emergency in the Senate on Friday. Leader of opposition business in the Senate, Peter Bunton, said the party has already taken a position on the measure following its meeting on Monday. Senator Bunton is of the view that there is no justification for the states of emergency. He believes the measure is driven by a political agenda.
We now bring you these international reports.
Ukrainian officials say 4 people have died in Russia's latest missile strikes targeting the city of Kherson, liberated 2 weeks ago. A high-rise residential building caught fire in the shelling, which also hit a children's playground. Russian strikes have also been causing severe damage to Ukraine's energy sector. Power companies say it's getting harder to fix important infrastructure, and the result is a virtual blackout in some cities. President Zelensky says 15 regions are experiencing difficulties in supplying power and water. Let's go over to the BBC's Ukraine correspondent, James Waterhouse, who's in Dnipro. James, what is the situation like there?
Well, you're right, Karen, in the sense that it varies from city to city. In Dnipro, things seem relatively stable. Lifts are out of order in some buildings, but we travelled across from the southern city of Kryvyi Rih yesterday, and it was like being in a black hole, to be honest with you. There was no signal, no water, no power. It was extremely difficult to communicate, and we had to drive out of the city to be able to get online and speak to you. Today we're being told half the country can't be provided with electricity through the country's infrastructure. Russia's new tactics are being felt by just about everyone. But when these strikes happen, devastating as they are, there are still huge efforts by the Ukrainian authorities to try and repair. We followed one team in the southern Kherson region.
The dark cloud of Russia's tactics reaches most corners of Ukraine. It's felt by everyone, but a path through is often found, as well as a chance to repair. Engineers from Ukraine's biggest energy company head out to work. Today's job, a downed electricity cable caused by a shell. This part of the Kherson region used to be the front line. Landmines mean they can't work beyond the tape.
How much more difficult has your job become?
Before, work like this was only necessary after extreme weather like hurricanes, so 1 or 2 incidents. Now it's like we're building the whole cable network from scratch again.
This feels like a never-ending task under really dangerous conditions. The authorities, in their words, want to give people power and warmth, but the shelling isn't stopping, and it's happening right across this region.
A typically once-in-a-5-year repair has become a daily ritual. For these rural communities, so too has not having water or power. In this area, it's been 8 months. Most have long left, but some have stayed the course. We bump into Bogdan, who wants to show us where he lives. As we get inside, he shows us the damage before it gets too much.
У Київ їхати щось когось просити, щоб чи помогли, чи що.
Maybe I should go to Kyiv and ask for help there, he says.
Вообще дурдом.
Madness, he tells me.
Ну що це за...
Do you worry what your future looks like?
Не знаю, я не знаю, що...
I just don't know what to do. I've never cried like this in my life. Now I'm an old man. Ukraine is a darker place because of Russia's targeting of its infrastructure. Its resolve hasn't necessarily been weakened, but more people are suffering.
Here we have the authorities in that Kherson region telling people to leave. They have set up a hotline where people will be paid to take transportation out of the Kherson region to a safer area, in their words. They'll also have accommodation paid for as well. But for so many people, that is not an option. We're talking about communities that have chosen to stay under 8 months of occupation or been forced to. DTEC, the energy company we followed, the boss there has urged people to leave the country because of the strain on the infrastructure. So it's an impossible situation, and it shows that liberation is a complicated outcome. It doesn't bring instant relief. There are still steep challenges facing people despite Russian retreat.
And James, to what extent are the attacks continuing on Kherson, liberated, as you say, only recently, but still from across the river where the Russians have retreated to, the barrage comes?
This was the exact fear, because when you look across the Dnipro River in the south of Ukraine, this river that cuts Ukraine in two, it's formed much of the front line. It's over this river which both sides launch artillery. Russia has shelled Ukrainian cities further north on a nightly basis, so it's a tactic often deployed. I've been down to the Dnipro River in Kherson, and it's strangely calm. It is stable in that sense. The Russians have pulled back. They've pulled back a kilometre or so from the river itself, but it's the overhead threat where artillery is being launched from both sides, and throughout the city you have the thud of incoming and outgoing artillery. And of course, overnight we've seen another missile strike where 7 people have reportedly been killed in a residential block. So again, this is a city free in one sense, but far from safe in another.
The UN Human Rights Council has approved an international investigation into Iran's violent crackdown on protesters by 25 votes to 6, with 16 abstentions. The UN says more than 300 people have been killed and thousands arrested since the death of Mahsa Amini in police custody sparked nationwide protests. Stephanie Prentice reports.
Many of Iran's streets look like a war zone. Its people are carrying the battle wounds. Its children are being killed. Like 9-year-old Kian Perfalak, shot dead by security forces. The words Kian Aziz, Kian Dear have now become a painful cry amongst Iranians. The United Nations Human Rights Council says the situation in Iran is now critical.
The unnecessary and disproportionate use of force must come to an end. The old methods and the fortress mentality of those who wield power simply don't work. In fact, they only aggravate the situation. We are now in a full-fledged human rights crisis.
Its members have approved an international fact-finding mission to investigate the crackdown. That's despite Iran's own diplomats fighting hard to block it.
The Islamic Republic of Iran deeply regrets that the Human Rights Council is abused once again by some arrogant states to antagonize a sovereign UN member state that's fully committed to its obligation to promote and protect the human rights.
It took months of the Iranian diaspora pressuring world leaders to get here.
The killing of children, that's something that's really upset us.
This investigation could help catalogue abuses by security forces. That evidence could then be used in international courts to hold the government accountable. The people of Iran have been risking their lives since the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini in police custody. Protesters here banking on world powers to support them. Stephanie Prentice, BBC News.
Well, let's get more on this story and speak to Yasmin Chubin, who is the Legal Advocacy Director at the Clooney Foundation for Justice and a former prosecutor at the International Criminal Court. And she joins us now from Washington. Thank you very much for joining me, Yasmin. Now, you've been following this closely, this council vote to set up the investigation. Do you believe that the people of Iran are closer to securing their human rights?
Hi, thank you for having me. And yes, I believe today's vote at the Human Rights Council was hugely important for the exact reason that you're saying. The people of Iran are now closer to ensuring their human rights because there will be an investigative mechanism. So the world is now watching, and there will be an independent fact-finding mission that appoints independent experts and an investigative and legal team, which will be investigating the crimes that are happening and reporting regularly.
Now, the world has been watching for some time. I wonder what tools are at the disposal of the international community to support those demonstrating in Iran whilst this investigation is going on.
Well, the international community, through the fact-finding mission, will be able to look at the evidence that's coming out of Iran, interview witnesses, analyze the open source intelligence evidence, and if Iran allows, which is very unlikely, go onto the ground and investigate specifically there.
Now, if this investigation does find conclusive evidence of human rights abuses, what do you think accountability for those crimes should look like vis-a-vis the government?
Well, first, the UN will be able to take different measures, various resolutions, and then there also is the possibility of prosecutions down the line, and that's what we're all very much hoping for, either in international courts or in domestic jurisdictions. The principle of universal jurisdiction can be applied in order to prosecute Iranians, even if they're not citizens or currently residing in one of those countries. What we need to keep in mind is when we're looking at something like a fact-finding mission or prosecutions down the line, this is a long game and it can take a significant amount of time. But the reason why it's hugely significant is that the evidence is being captured now in real time. And that's what we've learned time and time again, is that we cannot wait for the evidence to only be recorded down the line 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. We need the investigations and the collection and gathering and the preservation of evidence to happen in real time. And that's what today's resolution accomplishes.
Congo's foreign minister has threatened insurgent groups with regional force unless they accept peace agreements.
If there is a group that refuses, that doesn't take the hand, they're going to be considered negative and fought by the regional force. We forget that the regional force is not only for the M23, but for all the movements there.
It comes just after African leaders declared a ceasefire on Wednesday in Congo's east, which is set to begin on Friday. The agreement is aimed at stopping attacks by the M23 rebel group in eastern Congo, a Tutsi-led group which Congo accuses Rwanda of backing. Rwanda denies the claims. The resurgence in fighting has caused a major diplomatic crisis. Thousands have also been displaced. The group has made substantial gains in recent months and is currently waging its most serious offensive in eastern Congo since 2012. The conflict is further destabilizing an area where armed groups have wrangled over land and resources for decades, despite billions having been spent by the United Nations on peacekeeping missions in the area. Demonstrations also broke out in Goma on Thursday, 20 kilometers or 12 miles from the front line. Hundreds took to the streets protesting that the peace agreement doesn't go far enough to tackle Rwanda's alleged backing of the group. The United Nations said in August that it had solid evidence that Rwandan troops had been fighting alongside the M23 group. The United States and the European Union have called on Rwanda to stop backing the group.
You were listening to the WinFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were: local elections in Nevis set for December 12th. Skelec bills to show value of fuel variation charge. Cuba and China presidents hold talks in Beijing. Cayman Islands government to change asylum process to allow successful refugees 3 years in country. Guyana's president announces changes to salaries of workers in law enforcement services. Internationally, infrastructure in Kherson damaged by Russian shelling is having to be rebuilt from scratch, said engineers from Ukrainian energy company. The United Nations Human Rights Council has approved an international investigation into Iran's violent crackdown of anti-government protesters. Thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and the ICDF Taiwan Technical Mission.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Tis the season to save with Delayed Walwyn and Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Purchasing a new car this Christmas? Save up to 65% off. Yes, that's 65% off your motor insurance premiums. Switch and save.
Think before you bin it. There can be some use in it. The St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management, in collaboration with Taiwan ICDF Technical Mission and the Department of Environment, presents Let's Recycle. We are encouraging all residential homes, commercial businesses, and schools to bring along your plastic bottles, metal cans, and aluminum cans, ready for an opportunity to win big. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every second and fourth Tuesday each month at the following locations in St. Kitts: the Connery Roundabout, every first and third Tuesday at Buckley's parking lot in front of Best Buy, and the last Saturday of each month in Deep Bay. In Nevis, every second and fourth Friday of each month at Delta Petroleum, Ex-Petrol in Camps, Big Six in Gingerland, and Old Artisan Village in Charlestown. But wait, that's not all. 1 pound equals 1 point. So bring your recyclables and build up your points for a chance to win stainless steel thermal bottle, flatware set, and much more. To learn more about the recycling project, do visit our Facebook page at Let's Recycle in St. Kitts and Nevis or contact us at 465-2372. The choice is yours. Save it or waste it. You are the difference. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM. Win FM weather.
Today's weather comes to you with the kind compliments of Beacon Insurance.
Isn't it great when your experience pays off? Finally, drivers 50 years and over can enjoy the benefits of their years of driving experience. With Beacon's 50 Plus plan, you can expect a hassle-free sign-up, affordable fixed rates, and free windscreen cover with your car insurance. Call Kane Agencies Limited at 465-3333 or log on to beacon.co.tt and get driving today.
Today's weather, partly sunny with a 20% or slight chance of brief showers. Tonight, partly cloudy with a 10% or slight chance of brief showers. Generally settled atmospheric conditions will prevail across the area over the next 24 hours. Relatively low moisture levels will inhibit significant shower activity. Sunset today will be 5:35 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow 6:21 a.m. That's your weather forecast for today, which came to you with the kind compliments of Beacon Insurance.
Always be sure you settle for more. Get up to 35% off Beacon's fully comprehensive vehicle insurance and still cover a whole lot more. Enjoy higher discounts and better coverage for any kind of vehicle, car, SUV or pickup with free loss of use, windscreen cover and special perils. To sign up, call Kane Agencies Limited at 869-465-3333 or log on to beacon.co.tt and settle for more today.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Triple that cash back. From now until December 31st, Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store is going to triple that cash back. You heard right. Hospice is going to triple that never-ending cashback now with 3 big ways to save. 1. Get low monthly and weekly payments and no payment until February 2023. 2. Get a chance to win absolutely free groceries for 1 year. 3. Triple that never-ending cashback at Hospice Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store for even more groceries. Triple that cashback today at Hospice. Triple the savings. Triple the free groceries. Triple the extraordinary. Triple that never-ending cashback today. See store for details.
And we're back. I hope you folks who would have had your lunch already had a great one. Those who still at lunch, do enjoy. I would admonish you, try your best to avoid salty, fatty, and sweet. And there are various interpretations as to what that might mean. Anyway, you're logged on once again to Voices. You're logged on to WinFM 98.9. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. And we're into the second half of today's interlude. We had discussion this morning arranged mainly with some taxi issues at Port Sanchez. My last caller was asked to call back because we actually ran out of time on the issue we were discussing. But until the lines are open, 6620989, 4660989, and we have a call on the line as we speak. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Socrates.
So long me ain't hear your voice. I feel like I just win the grand prize and today's VAT day. So what do you say? Sister Henry, how you doing?
Oh, you giving God thanks, man.
That's how we start the day.
You said the Bible said, rejoice when men speak evil of you.
Mm-hmm.
Rejoice and be exceedingly glad.
Who's speaking evil of you now?
In heaven. Is that where you can get it, eh?
Who's speaking evil of you now? Just let me go for them. Tell me who messing with Sister Henry?
It's who messing with you that I want to go for.
You got my back, I got yours. How you doing?
Yeah. As Africa say, the African women are the leaders or whatever, right?
Yep.
We fight for our men.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so. Well, it goes with the territory,
Yes.
When people don't want to take responsibility, they blame somebody else.
Correct.
And they want you to sacrifice your life, like Jesus.
For them.
And they reap the reward.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the selfishness is what will kill us.
Yeah.
Because we stand to lose,
Of course we are stand to lose.
If you decide, if the drivers decide or the taximen decide, look, we can't get our equal here, we begin to picket the businesses of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is our earnings that keeping the businesses going.
Of course.
So sometimes you got to take it right where it is. But they're going, Lord, may somebody does work there for me. You know that kind of thing?
Yeah.
I thank God I'm a free man. I don't tell people, look, when you are in slavery, still I was free, eh? Free man. No.
Well, what turned me off?
I'm serious.
Yeah.
And people love politics more than God, But I say, God first and everybody else after. Not insane kids. Their party, their leader, their politician, and sometimes the priest and everybody else. Above themselves, But we say, love God, love your neighbor.
One
love
response
yourself.
was that the government just gone 100 days in office. Oh, you didn't demonstrate the unity. It has nothing to do with that.
No bother with them.
We're
When
daily
you hear them kind of,
sitting.
I just say ignore the noise.
Yep.
Because they want you to sacrifice yourself, the same set of people, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it's a good thing, Socrates, they do it. Where were you? Where were you? Standing up for what? And they have nothing to gain,
And
when
what?
their accounts are drawn up, their accounts going to show a deficit. They like the word deficit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And the people who they're trying to defend and protect going to get a surplus after surplus after surplus. Now, let me get to the wheelchair.
Yes.
Life is interesting. I want to thank you for showing an interest and taking a lead. You know, we started just with Pastor George.
Yes.
And I am proud of you. I'm proud of you, you know.
Thank you very much.
Because the same Bible said, Jesus said it. And nobody who does anything for the least of his people will go unrewarded.
Amen to that.
So whether they say thank you or not, or you're looking attention on, because they said those things there. Oh, he fast, he like to be in things. You be in things, yeah? God will reward you in ways you don't even expect. Now, yesterday, I attended a workshop at the Marriott in which some UN people came down and they were talking about the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Okay.
So the minister was there. The social services, they're going to have this new ministry for youth, aged and disabled. So they said they want to do some consultation. This thing was good. They said that they had invited a lot of people who didn't show up. But I said, well, you know it is. People choose what they're interested in, eh? And so they gave the presentation in the first half or in the morning, and in the afternoon we had group work. And they said we must choose an issue we think would improve the life of people with disability. And in my group, you know, I chose wheelchairs and other aids like that.
Okay.
I said, look at that. Now, today, they should have been meeting with the ministries or agencies that could help to put the different things in place. I think we had 6 groups, and each group chose one thing that would help to improve the life of disabled people.
Yes.
So the Hajj must have that's a good idea, you know, and I'm glad you followed up with the one about getting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs involved.
Yes.
And what I would say to our people abroad, talk to people you know. If you're hearing it for the first time, you know.
Yes.
And some of you can get together, because I remember when the group from Washington, D.C., the St. Kitts Nevis Association in Washington, D.C., they put their money together and bought 4 new branches.
Okay.
So you and somebody, what you want for Christmas, all right now they're having what? Black Friday?
Black Friday sale, etc., etc.
Go in the store where they sell
Medical,
the wheelchairs.
yeah, they will get a good discount.
Mm-hmm.
But in the
And
case...
If you can't do it by yourself, you know, encourage groups.
In the
They don't have
case,
to be petition.
in the case of the lady who's assisted me, I spoke to the person at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here. It says she should not have to undertake that cost of shipping them because she knows nobody in the Federation.
I told you so.
And they agreed with me. They didn't have that option before. So the person went back and forth and they called me. They were very, you know, they say, okay, here's what you do. Give her this number. Let them call the shipping company. They will come and take them, package them, and XYZ, and they will be here within the Federation by a certain time.
Yeah, and the people, the recipients, you know, if they could make a donation to our association.
Okay. Well, I don't have an association.
Or even to a fund to help.
Yeah, but I don't mind giving them to you to give out to people who are known, but I need one for a gentleman in St. Peter's.
Well, yeah. Oh, he didn't get one the other day?
No, the person who got one is now at the infirmary. And I was asked to go and take a picture of him so that the donors can have a picture of the person, or the recipient. So I did that. You know, so
I know for Canada, my sister-in-law brings in, but I don't have to come here free.
Well, the ministry realizes...
They bring in a container or whatever you call it.
I think they appreciate the fact that people are trying to help. So they're trying to help the whole processes by saying, okay, let it take it to the mission in New York, and they will...
Yeah, but we have to start to think about Canada now, too, eh?
Well, I know a few people in Canada also.
I tell you now, my sister-in-law who does it, she in a group.
Okay.
Her name is Jean Skeet Maynard. That is, she Hustler's sister.
Yes, you mentioned that before.
She's my brother's Anthony Maynard, former police officer's wife. She and a group in Canada does it.
Okay.
So I don't know who pays the freight, because I've spoken to more than one person, and they're saying, well, they have an idea we could get one, But to get it from, like, Houston or whatever down to Miami is very expensive.
Well,
So
this...
maybe we need to look also at down in Miami where the shipping takes place.
Yes.
If we have anybody down there who could coordinate it.
We surely can compare notes and see where we can help.
Because whatever help we give to somebody, you know, God give to us our children.
Definitely.
You know, many times my children come home and say, Mommy, this person said that Daddy do this for them and Daddy do that for them. You know, I said, boy, my husband used to be the Red Cross and the Salvation Army for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so now he's dead. Different people reach out to my children. People I don't even know.
And that's the whole circle of life.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. But some people think that when they give something, they diminish. The Bible said there is a man who got plenty and is reduced, you know.
That is so.
So I want to commend you for maintaining the interest.
Thank you.
And
And
I hear you advertising your Calypso show.
you're coming tomorrow night? No, this is really because of
I don't go.
Miss Haley Cassius. She is the...
I taught Haley Cassius in school, you know.
You taught her?
Sixth form.
And she's got energy and charisma. So I really want this thing to come out for her mainly. She's trying to incorporate the craft house and build, get people to go there and see what they're doing. So this is a platform to generate interest into what they're doing there.
So when you said they're going over he was parked to go.
Yes, the man going to have a big birthday party in National Heroes Park at the same time. No. I was being funny with it. I don't know about that aspect of it. I was just making a joke because the cross the same night.
To me, given their remarks, some place got to be a hallowed place, you know.
Yes, okay.
The same way we want down in St. Paul's. I could say anything because I accustomed to them. The same place I want down in St. Paul's with Honorable Robert Bratcher's statue to be hallowed.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 5 national heroes statue there. And you're going in India, go have a party or whatever. How many other places they have? They got Monkey Lab Community Center and a pastor. Keyon has one. Canada has one. Connery have one. It is disrespectful. That is how I see it. You have nothing to do with it.
I understand that. I understand that too.
These are my feelings. Disrespectful for the comments that were being made. Oh, don't have nothing in there, but you can have a party in there. Out of order. Dr. Joe, I expect better of you, eh? Do not allow them to corrupt you. And all who supported the out of order. Next thing you know, they chop the thing on who they don't like.
The face.
Yeah.
There's a potential for that.
My good villager, I would strongly feel about it.
Well,
the out of order, you sure that is what you hear?
I have it in print, unless somebody conquered the whole thing.
Because nowadays they make it up all kind of story.
They do that.
When they make up, look how you said, they splice the thing to put in Japan.
Yes.
The thing Japan mouth lock off?
Well, here's what happened. I was speaking about the event for the craft house for tomorrow night. And somebody sent me this and said, that's your competition. You know, I have heard of it before. It can be something created but it was sent to me.
Yeah. That's why I asked if it's sure. Because I wouldn't expect somebody of the stature of Dr. Drew to allow himself or his party to go up there and desecrate. Because you can't desecrate down in St. Paul, you can't do it with everybody there. So I hope, the mischief makers, the Lord rebuke them.
Yep.
The Lord rebuke them, all who creating mischief. They make up one on the governor, then they make up one, they're going to make up some more on you.
That's okay.
Just like me.
They've been doing that for years and years and years.
So like me. Once you confess your sins openly, they have nothing to tell you.
Who want to live on my past? I go get them the zip code. You go wait there. I go a long time.
Well, if God can't even find it, imagine that. God said, as far as east from the west, He put it in the sea of forgetfulness. Well, all you do, go diving. Make sure you get enough oxygen tank to dive, because you haven't got far to dive.
No problem.
Anyway, you be encouraged. And all those who are listening, if you're out there and you have a relative who had a wheelchair, you know, those who down in the Virgin Islands. Wherever you are, Stacia, Sabre. Because remember, you know, as somebody said, you're only one breath away from ending up in a wheelchair.
Yes.
One stroke.
I'm going to give her my digits one more time.
One slip, and you immobilize.
Okay.
So whatever you do, and remember our association is called the SKN St. Kitts Nevis Association of Persons with Disability. Then you have the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School and Addis Place, and there is something brown in Nevis. So reach out and be blessed. That will be your Christmas gift. For your Christmas gift, out of the double, bless somebody. God bless you.
And my birthday is on December 22nd. I'm going to have a big party, venue to be announced. Anyway, my contact for those who want to make a contribution to the topic at hand, assisting those in the Federation with the wheelchairs, walkers, etc., adult diapers, is spheritage1@gmail.com. That's SP as in Sandy Point. heritage1@gmail.com. And my digits with the area code of 869 is 6620989. So what am I saying?
Right, and we don't have to worry. We're not going to steal the wheelchair because we're walking.
There we are. 662-4690. That's my digit. 662-4690 or spheritage1@gmail.com. Sister Henry, bless your heart.
God bless you.
Bless your heart. We're going to pause now for a word from our very kind sponsors and be right back after.
Bigger, better, blowout, Black Friday weekend sale. Bigger, better Black Friday blowout 3-day weekend sale comes to the Holtzman's Building Centers and the Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts and Nevis. 25% off store-wide this weekend from Thursday 25th November to Saturday 27th November at Holtzman's Building and Nevis Centers, Holtzman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts and Nevis. Bigger savings, better deals, large discounts at the Holtzman's Building Center, Nevis Center, Ashley Furniture Home Store, and the Furniture and Appliances Showroom this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Bigger, better, blowout, Black Friday weekend sale. Bigger, better Black Friday blowout 3-day weekend sale comes to the Holtzman's Building Centers and the Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts and Nevis. 25% off store-wide this weekend from Thursday 25th November to Saturday 27th November at Holtzman's Building and Nevis Centers, Holtzman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store on St. Kitts and Nevis. Bigger savings, better deals, large discounts at the Holtzman's Building Center, Nevis Center, Ashley Furniture Home Store, and the Furniture and Appliances Showroom this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to Voices, and we go straight to the phone lines. Call your live on Voices.
Hi, the King. I'm back.
Good afternoon, sir. You're on.
I'm in the circus here, and it's busy. There was a stalled truck. It just was able to manage to start back up. So it was retarding the traffic for a duration of time.
Go right ahead. Busy day, that day.
On a busy day like today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's already left. The King. I'm back. And I want to continue where I left off by saying that I wish Marsha Henderson, the tourism minister, all well. I did attend the first gathering she had at the Marriott. And we then, most taxi drivers, at least those who got an opportunity to get up and talk, hear their discontent, hear their views in areas. The King, this matter is not just pertaining to the port alone. There's also the airport, and there's also the hotels in which we ply our trade. And for instance, Gas Money got up and he spoke about having to work from the airport, meeting our guests for the first time. We would give them our contact information so that, hoping that they are here for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, what have you, and you can, show them around, especially the first timers. And Minister Henderson took notes. What I would like to see, I cannot dictate as to how she will do her work. But what I would like to see, I would like to see movement in those areas, because those areas are still being
problematic.
Taken up by quote-unquote persons who work in the Marriott who happen to own a taxi. And we are wondering, sometimes our guest means well to contact you, but for whatever reason, they might have been in the hotel, having to see the guests in the hotel more often than you, because here it is, you took them from the airport to the respective hotel, and you made the contact via the exchange of numbers and so forth. And then whatever advantage those persons who is in the hotel has, the benefit goes to them, who already have a wage, a weekly, bi-weekly wage, a monthly wage, and has an alternative.
It's a hustle.
And kudos to them.
It's a hustle that's been going on for decades. But I understand you need to bring it to the attention of the minister, as Gas Money tried. But it comes down to a managerial problem.
That is only one of the stickling aspect concern that some of the drivers have.
Okay, go ahead, continue. Because that particular issue.
That is only one of the concerns. I've got distracted a little bit there.
Yes.
That is only one of the concerns. As for me, the king, I take my guests to the hotel and I get 8 out of 10, I would say. I get them because
Okay.
I can deliver. Okay? But for some of those other persons who really cannot have not had that privilege, it is not right. So that is only one aspect of it.
Okay,
I don't cry over spilled milk, but that is one out of many of the concerns. So we want to see things moving in those areas. It's not just the Marriott Hotel. It happened to the Park Hyatt. It happened to other hotels where just a few is benefiting. And some of the hotels don't have any rep that comes to the airport for the guests. We just come and take our guests likewise. And what would the other people say to us, who is on the front line, taking our guests to there, that we are not as legitimate as they? That cannot be. So that's the area that I would want to concentrate on.
Okay.
And we hope and we know that the authorities, they have the people who listen, and that is just one of the concerns. Down at the port, it's very, very tedious. And like the king, you left alone. But you're not alone. You mean well. You mean well.
But the thing
and
is,
for whatever reason, like Mr. Stanley said, the politics take preference over the bread and butter.
Okay,
Not so for me. Me alone stood up the king under the former administration under Mr. Grant as Minister of Tourism. And I pushed back. One time I had was to go to the extreme to say what I would have done at the airport. Just to have my right to ply my trade after having all of my documentation to do my work and to feed my family. So I know I can do it alone, but more strength is numbers. I have done it before and I could do it again. So I don't need a lot of persons to come and talk for what I know and for others. I am not caught up in the Jesus syndrome, dying for nobody, I have three children and a grandchild. I would die for them, but I'm not dying for the mere guys who who knows better, but they are cowards. That is why I call out their name.
I need to clarify. I need to clarify something.
You did say that you had another commitment. But for those who committed to you to come there and be with you this morning, they betrayed you. They're not going to betray me.
They betrayed themselves. Here's what.
Yeah.
Ms. Hodge, Karen Hodge, did tell me she had an engagement, so she wouldn't be able to make it. She did tell me that.
I concur with that.
Okay, cool.
Because I did not know prior. But those were the voices that was down there. Very adamant.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But then
for some reason they're chicken out.
It's been phrased that I was planning a demonstration today. You're the one who says, let's get better organized and do it today. All I said, we should have a walk through. I said a walk through.
That Friday would have been a more relaxed day. Let's sit down and have a panel discussion on the radio. And so tourism will feed from that and say, yes, these are matters. Giving commitment at the Marriott.
And they didn't show this morning.
And go to the hotels, the respective hotels, go to the respective areas and say, no, this cannot be right. You work through the system and you allow all these guys, not because they have an opportunity to have a vehicle and have another job, you know.
At the same time, Africa,
out.
We don't need government to husband that. It's a managerial problem, and the association executives need to go and address that. You don't need government for that. You don't need government for that. But the discussion that we could have had this morning, nobody showed up. Yes, I understand, but you cannot put them at the forefront of everything and then say that tourism taking over.
No, I agree. I agree with that aspect.
We can handle it ourselves, but we are busy undermining of our own self. That's the whole issue. What I suggested for those who were there, a simple walkthrough.
Yesterday was a perfect example, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that is few and far between. One, the ship, I was told, had on about 6,000. I don't know if it was full to the max. That's good. And the concern with tourism is like, would I have enough vehicles at this time? Yes.
We have more than enough.
Providing they do it in an amicable way. I have heard them call small taxis for 2 persons. Instead of calling a 14-seater for 2 persons, maximize on, you're calling
again, a managerial problem.
For 2 persons to go to the, for instance, the Dolphin Park or Palm Court, or maybe to the Marriott Golfing. When you know that, look, listen, we need all the space in all these taxis to really have good reviews. As to say, when these people come to the front desk, they must be provided transportation to get around the island. As opposed to you send 2 persons in a 14-seater, and then you could have maximized that space there in a small vehicle. You know? Or if you're going to say, let's go make this run and come again, because the day permits that. Not all the day is going to permit it like that, but the day has permit that you maximize all the use of the transportation. So you can make this thing work and say, yes, this was a success. We have hosted a big ship along with others, and we have done it. There is no complaint in that area of the taxi drivers, making sure everybody reaches their destinations and back safe.
Yep.
Understand? This is what we want.
Okay, sir.
Because they already made theirs head tax. They already made theirs when the ship comes into the roadstead. But what about us? Calculated by her head person, I don't know how much. Somebody said it went up the other day. And
it's $5 per head as far as I know. For every person that visits on the ship, $5 a head. The scenic also get $5 a head.
Ship or not, yes. But let us make ours also.
Correct.
And the 70% is going to get worse.
I know.
It's going to get to 75% and it's going to get to 80%. And we're going to be eating like dogs, going to eat dogs in the street if we don't allow something to...
Well, I'm a vegetarian, so...
All right, thanks. Thanks to the king.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all I have to say.
Yes, there was...
I mean, well, I always make my contribution when it comes to these things here.
Very well respected. Appreciate it.
As I always stand, I will stand alone.
Okay, sir. Appreciate it. Now, to address the concerns of our listener, he was making some recommendations, and I'm going to set him straight as to how that works. He said, good morning. I believe that all taxis should be approved by the government. Sir, that is done. He said, like all vehicles having been inspected, paid insurance, inland revenue, and be given an appropriate sticker that is placed on the windshield of the vehicle. Those measures are in place. But sometimes when things get out of hand, it's hard to contain them. And the government has to be sensitive and diplomatic as to how they address certain problems, because you have the pushback of the politics. Well, I vote for you and this is my livelihood, etc. Because the whole breakdown of that came about politics. People were looking votes. So they opened up an industry that was not ready for that kind of influx without proper training. And so the tourism authority is left now to manage that. But it started at the level of a politician just training people in the whole thing. Fine, it's done. How to contain it? Therein lies the problem. And so these other entities now have been able to pick off certain drivers and feed them. So they can say, well, we give work to taxi drivers. That is correct. But it should have been channeled through the association. But you undermine the association, their own membership, undermine their very own association, and as somebody say, well, I have my child to feed. So how do we put the genie back in the box? Sit down, dialogue, and go to quotas. You should be able to give quotas from each entity to make it amicable. We go to the phone lines, call your live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Socrates.
Mr. Walford, sir. Veteran, senior in the industry.
Walford Arthurton.
Yes, sir.
I am very much disappointed in many things saying this afternoon. Very much disappointed.
Go ahead.
In Africa. All the blames that we have in the taxi business supposed to be put wholly and solely on the feet of our Yahushua, your president. And also, we ain't an association, you know. We does not have any association. And that is why Miss Marshall and them will try to handle me in the way that they're handling me. If we had association, not even the agents them could have give out who they want their own job. Because the association should be strong enough to demand what we want. The association is strong as any union because the association is a union. But you know what you all do? You all sit back and allow tourism to take over. I listened to you this week talking on this same very radio station, talking about Marsha doing a good job. She bring this amount of tourists and she bring the biggest ship. When all of us as taxi drivers and the citizens of this country know that Marsha ain't start doing nothing yet. These ships that you see come here, maybe 2-3 years ago, they already booked. And all the arguments you all making with the travel agents, them, or the agents who bring people here, or do the work for the cruise ship, them, you all know that if the association them was working properly, or doing what they're supposed to do, or you as the president, we would have mastered the whole thing. But you know what you all do? You all sit down and accept tourism to run the taxi business. The association was the one who's supposed to say when we need more members in the taxi business. But now, tourism is the one who demanding what they want to do what they like. Nobody respect the taxi man them anymore. In the 70s when I get in the taxi business, you know what they used to call taxi men? Ambassadors. You go around the island with travel agents for nothing. Not even gas money. But all of a sudden, you sit back, allow Daniel Walvin to do as they like. Tropical tours to do as they like. All kind of agency doing as they like. Everybody, some people got all of 10, 20 vehicles. Cutting out. You who's a call say, your taxi driver. And me as the senior, nobody has no respect for me. I can't even go down Port Zanti to get a job. I can't even go airport to get a job because they say me not qualify. 51 years in the business. 51 years. And all you sit back with the presidents, them who said them a president. As far as me concerned, you might be the only president. You hear that too? They ain't in nothing. Not nil zero. Secretary got a lot more to say. But I believe other people would like to say something.
I appreciate your contribution. I must say that I'm inclined to go with you 100%. I have to accept blame because I was part of the association. But what I'm doing... any more calls at the moment? As somebody said, this thing tweet me. Wally, you made your contribution and it's very well appreciated. Okay? I think I would have missed that call. You've actually painted a picture that actually reflects what is happening over the years, or reflected what had happened over the years with the association, how they were supposed to function. But I did say, when we questioned how certain people got their taxi ID, we were told they were given directly by ministers. When as Carla said, 16 years now you're fighting Scenic Railway. And you need to move on. But Carla, you are a member of the Reparation Committee, fighting for 400 years of wrong to be righted, through reparations. So each has its relevance. I was among those who stood up. I was the St. Kitts Taxi Association in the boycott that day. And the other associations say, well, the train paying us, so we're going to work for them. So you had the two associations fighting against each other because they want to work for less. They want to get the big contracts. And they were used to the point until they got their own vehicles. And so these entities have selected a few drivers and given them work. So when they say, well, we give work to taxi drivers, but the 70% of the work who's going through the gate, passing us east daily, is just wrong. So I suggested last week, fellas, let's take a walk through town. We just arguing amongst ourselves. And when the question is asked, how come we're not getting any work? Then I'm hearing today that I organized a demonstration for today because we asked the minister for certain thing and we didn't get it. So it's totally wrong. But for the folks who were supposed to come and have the discussion with me this morning, one excuse herself because, and the others, I expected one at least to be here, if nobody. But it's okay. It's okay. But let it be said, whatever is said, I can stand by. I did not organize any demonstration for today. It was recommended by Africa. Let's organize better and do it on Friday. Fine. I still represent the majority. Somebody took a picture, recorded, whatever, and then make it look like we plan to strike for an honorarium. And they were malicious because they incorporated a clip done by that captured Mr. DuPont some months before to make it seem that we are collaborating with Mr. DuPont to go and demonstrate it today. They're malicious, and I understand them. We go to the phone lines. Call it live on Voices. Good day. We're Mr. Hodge Jr. How are you, sir?
Not bad. But I have a very burning concern that I see surfacing in our country rapidly.
Okay, the mic is yours.
You have people driving around in Bastille and, well, the entire country with babies in their hand. And if they're not driving, the passenger who is in the front also would have the baby in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Very dangerous. The other concern is where we have the bicycle guys riding up and down one-way street, even on the sidewalks. The other day, I almost got hit by one of them while stepping out of an establishment. The young men on the scooters also want to do the same thing. Ride their scooter up and down the one-way streets and even on the sidewalks. Yesterday, I called the Commissioner of Police number, but I didn't get him. I called Superintendent for District A. I didn't get him either. To report this matter, we really have to take control of this thing before it really get out of hand. So that's why I decided to call in on the radio and hear my views in terms of that. We have to put a stop into this.
It is a concern.
Behavior.
And I'm glad you brought it to because of the information has been out there. I think traffic, they put measures in place. They spoke about the carriage for the babies being in the back seat, not up front, not in the hand of any passenger. So these are things unknown. So people who do that, and they're actually violating and putting the baby at risk.
Yes, I will ask him if she was saying shame.
So they have that. You have the bikers, the pedal bikers. You have those with motorbikers, the way they behaving in traffic. Of course, the police can be everywhere, but the concern primarily for those who can put their life at risk is one thing, but for the babies, that's the concern. And I'm glad that you were able to raise it, Mr. Hart Sr. We know he has junior scrape, but Mr. Hart Jr., I'm senior. What am I saying?
Thank you very much for listening, Hart Sr.
You're, of course, very welcomed. And it's a concern. I hope the relevant authorities, we can say relevant authorities, but each one has to monitor and bring certain things to the attention of the authorities who cannot be everywhere. So we're in a heightened season. We're going into our carnival season. Even today, downtown, lots of traffic. We need to be aware and focus our attention on safety first, especially as it comes to the innocence. So thank you, Mr. House Jr., for raising that point. Let's hope some diligence is put to address that. 17 minutes past the hour of 1. We have until 1:30 today. And, of course, for those who don't know, when cruise ships are in port, I'm at Port Zante trying to make my chiching. That's why I missed the last 2 days, a few weeks, so I'm here today. The phone lines are open, 662-0989 and 466-0989. Want to be part of the conversation, taxi issues, anything that deals with the social welfare of the Federation. The topic of the birthday party there was a concern expressed as to the location, if it is true, and the optics of having a birthday party at that particular venue, which should be a place of reverence. You can weigh in on that either way, if it is true. But as Sister Henry pointed out, it's not a good thing to have a birthday party there in that place. It's a Natural Heroes venue, etc., etc., etc. One of the things that we have in this country is democracy and the option to express yourself freely on whatever issue. Being a taxi operator, it really bothers me to have to bring this thing up over and over again. I'm not here on the radio to push my own agenda as relates to that. But there is an ongoing issue that needs to be looked at to see how we can sort it. There's a certain taxi driver who's kind of ticked off with me when I mentioned that we, some years ago, the members of the two taxi associations, of which I was a member, went to see the then Prime Minister, Dr. Douglas. I've explained the problem that it was. Okay, let's take this caller. I'll get back to that matter if I can. Caller, 11 Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hodge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwyer.
I had to call in because I was disturbed a little bit. I have to say, kudos to someone named Mr. Walford Atherton.
Yep.
Because I know him being a taxi driver and doing his taxi business up at the Deepwater Port, where the ships used to come in.
Correct.
And he came out and he clearly heard exactly what is the situation and what is the problem going on now down at Port Zante. The fault have to be the president of everything. I listened to him keenly, and he is correct. All the fault have to be coming from the president of certain things that they see and they let it go by.
Yep.
Let it go by. And if you could have about 12 persons like Mr. Walford Atherton and try to rectify the situation what you all is having down there, it will be good for all taxi drivers. You have to respect each other in whatever you do when you're doing taxiing. You have the one from up Newtown, which you call Mr. He speak out, Africa.
Yes.
He normally speak out when things bother him. And it's good when you speak out so people can know exactly what is going on. When you have to leave things bother up inside of your stomach, you'll never get nothing done.
Fair enough.
I am happy for those two gentlemen, Mr. Africa and Mr. Walford Atherton, to come on the air and speak exactly what's going on down there at the Deepwater Port. You know, I was a security. I was a person who did not like to see nonsense. I was a person who used to interact with all of the drivers. I never say, you're right or you're wrong. I listen and I make my mark about doing something. Because remember, we are asking the people to come here for we to put a little dollar in our pocket. They don't have to. But when you're going to have all these other organizations intervene into the taxi association, something is going to collapse. And Mr. Walford Atherton couldn't say it no better than what he had to say. And I am disappointed of the behavior of people to him, and he should be respected as a taxi driver, a senior taxi driver, because he mean well.
Got
Also
you.
Mr. Hodge.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Based on your observation, can't argue with you. You would have made your assessment, and that's what you see, that's what you hear, that's what you present. Okay? Thank you. I was on the point of explaining when we had a similar situation years ago with the railway. We complained about the way it was done and the betrayal. And the then Prime Minister said, okay, in as much as the vehicles are here and we can send them back, what I will do is to initiate a sharing arrangement. One ship goes to Sinky Taxi, the other goes to the Scenic Railway, the other goes to the Limega Taxi Association. And we thought that was okay. Great, we can work with that. And we left the office, we went to the circus where we were packed. And the other guys were very excited about it. Mr. Woodley, very excited about that. Yes. I asked him, do you believe that, man? It's been years after. And had that measure been implemented, you would have had equity. This is the whole thing. We must have equity. We can't be told, well, this company go there and get people, so they must have the lion's share. Long before they came to the Federation, I was seeing 4 or 5 ships in the roadstead. So they're not responsible for bringing ships here. So they should be given a leeway, say, well, because they go to the market, they must get the lion's share. Share it. It is wrong. Because the owner of that company said emphatically on radio and TV, he did not come here to compete with the taxi drivers. How in heaven's name they get all those vehicles? Because they put a con on the public saying that we were not reliable. And they start getting the vehicles. The other entity decide to support them in the narrative, because if they're foreign and they're allowed to get vehicles, we are local. So they played the game, they supported them, they got the vehicles, they got theirs. And if Minister Grant didn't stop a certain entity because they applied to get more vehicles, he stopped them. He said, no, you're encroaching on the work of the locals. But what's happening in the meantime? Had Denzel Douglas implemented the measure that he spoke about sharing the work, we would not have this problem. Now, after the issue of the association and this and that, many a taxi driver campaigned on the port. They wanted tourism to take it over. They wanted the tourism authority to take over the running of the port. They've done so. Because you asked for it. Oh, the president's in doing this and that, so they want tourism to take it over. And now they're complaining. But tourism can't handle the issue because it's multifaceted, the problems. Oh, the president's underproactive, this and that and that. They went and undermined. But I'm not defending the president because they did fall down on the job. I was a member. I wasn't a president then. But the group that I represent, we're doing our own thing. We're doing our own thing. We're making sure that we recognize, we represent the interests of our membership, and those who want to come on the umbrella, they're free to do so. Those who don't want to, not a problem. But we are our own worst enemies down there. Until we get to that understanding, we'll have the problem. But it all starts with dialogue. I'm open, but don't say what I don't say. Don't go and try to be friends with politicians by saying, oh, Socrates doing this, Socrates doing that. Get some backbone, standard issues, and say what they say. Represent what they want to represent, and you'll see that it benefits every last one of us. If there are no other calls, we have time for one or two more callers. Okay. Please don't distract. One more caller. We go live to the phone lines. Call 11 Voices.
Good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir. I called your name this morning, Mr. Culture in the house. What's up?
I wasn't hurting you.
You wasn't hurting me?
No.
Were you hurting sheep?
Yeah, goat too.
If you're not hurting me, you're hurting sheep or goat. Talk to me.
I was hurting one goat and 10 sheep.
Sheeps. Okay, now we're talking plural.
Anyway, sorry that you all have to be experienced in this kind of program with your trade, you know. Should not reach to that. But a lot of this thing does happen when some people believe that they don't want to listen to the person on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they listen to people who are not touching the ground. And there's where they go wrong. Now, I heard you say that you're going to have, what you call it, up by the Craft House?
Tomorrow night, Craft House Calypso.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Is politicians, why we had to come out to Warner Park and stop race biking there? Because 1979, we had 3 islands along with St. Kitts in Warner Park racing. And when we expect a crowd in there, the Labour Party had a big motorcade, political motorcade, and that killed us.
Mm.
So when we realized, we're going to here by the motorcade, take everybody out the park.
Mm-hmm.
He said, anyway, we done with India. Done with India, and then we stay on the road.
Okay.
So politicians should really look at the calendar and listen to the calendar of events
no.
before they make some decision.
Man, the man birthday coming to something date, he can't change it. He can't change his birth date and say, well, they're having a Calypso tent here, so let me change my birth date.
Sad that it had to happen. Now, I call in again to support the caller who talk about these bicycle up and down the place with wheel in the ear and pop wheeling and riding and so on.
Yes.
Now, everybody have heard my voice on radio for years.
That is true.
Police without pay.
That is true.
And it is true that a police cannot be here and there and everywhere.
Yep.
But for the amount of years, myself and others been complaining about these reckless disregard of the law behavior on these fellas on these bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this thing should have done stop. Because even funeral and all, they don't have no respect. A funeral coming, and they come in the opposite direction with the wheel up in here by the funeral. And it isn't civilian alone see them, you know. Law enforcers don't see them. But you see, because nobody doing them anything, they just tell us, man, me could do what me want. Nobody summon me, see, I just passed two police down there. But a police is a police 24/7. And all who assist in the police, they are the same thing. And when they see these things here, they should confront them and stop them. And deal with them right there. Don't let them pass. Because they overbearing now, you know. And then when they pass, they want to, and you talk, they want to curse you.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you when you're born, how old you be. Now look where they're going to go right, boy, with handle up in here. In the square. No bicycle supposed to be ridden in there. You walk with
in
your bike.
the square?
Yeah.
Anyway.
When they come in and you just suppose and you jump over and you say, bye, what you doing? They start to tell you what on your butt paper.
You are the last call of the day. We are out of time. Hopefully Monday it can come and engage you in more conversation because you're doing your civic duty. You call on this issue that can affect the whole development. And this slow erosion over the laws over the years is what we have today. It didn't happen overnight. But we reap what we sow. Thank you once again for making your contribution to Win FM and all the other callers who made the contribution, whether by text or radio calling. We love you. Enjoy the rest of your VAT-free day. Well, VAT reduction day. And
we'll have your tent,
we're having a tent tonight at the Public Market in Sandy Point.
Doesn't matter who got boat there about night. Sing, Zach. What is sing?
I'm singing Salty, Fatty, and Sweet.
Okay, then.
Right? So tonight we are at the Public Market in Sandy Point. That's the Legends Collector tent. And tomorrow we will be at the Craft House.
Salty relish, okay?
Salty, fatty, and sweet. I'm a vegetarian. Did you hear that? Okay. Lady Hazel, thanks for your contribution. And all the folks who made theirs. I wish you peace, love, and an ice cream sundae.
Right.
I'm out of here.
Fresh the paint and tile.